Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be talking to author Lauren Denton. We're going to be talking about her brand new debut novel called The Hideaway. Yay! Look at the cover, and everybody always says to me, "You're such a cover person." Yes, I'm a cover person. I love that cover. And thank you so much, Lauren, for talking with me today. And you know what? I was reading your blog today about how people confuse you between Laura and Lauren, and I almost said Laura.
All the time. Yes, it's crazy. I think Laura must roll off the tongue a little easier than Lauren. I mean, it's comical. When I get emails, I send it to my husband. Like, it happened again. You should have married a Laura.
Yeah, and you know what? My first son was born in 1987. And
okay.
On The Young and Restless, the number one star at that time, her name was Lauren. And so that was my name for him. If he would have been a girl, he would have been Lauren.
Neat. Oh, that's neat. Well,
yeah. Well, the name kind of came around. It's like it came around again. It how names have phases. But then he went to school and he had a whole pile of Laurens in his class. So I knew that it was like everybody was doing what I was going to do. So.
Yeah, sure. But now you don't have to be part of that trend. You're your own.
That's right. Anyway, this book, you know what? I say this every time I read a novel. Like, I just came off a whole bunch of history books, okay? And I love history. I can read a good history book any day. But when I get to a novel like yours, I'm like, that's what I want to do. And that's why there are writers like you, because there are readers like me who it's like, there are a lot of readers like me who will be like, oh, I read a lot of nonfiction. I don't read novels. But then when you read a novel, you're like, this is why novels are there. This is why, we have people like you who write these kind of novels, because they are just so sweet, and you get into the story and into the characters, and I don't give away any, I don't give away anything. I'm not one of those people, because I want people to read it like I did.
Yeah, sure.
So I always talk around the people.
Around the big things.
Yeah.
Give away thing. Sorry.
Yeah, but I love Sarah. I'm sorry, I cut out.
So thank you for asking me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, good. I loved Sarah Jenkins. I loved her.
Yes, I like her too.
Yeah, I mean, I visited New Orleans twice. A couple of years ago, my boyfriend said we were talking about New Orleans, and I said, I just never been to New Orleans. He was like, what? Yeah. I'm in Pennsylvania. Okay. It's a different world. It's a different world down there. He took me, and we did all the sightseeing. We had beignets, and we went, we did all that. We stayed in downtown. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
right in the middle.
We did not sleep for 3 days. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
And so
I can imagine.
I know. So 2 years later, I said to him, you know what? I want to go back, but I don't want to stay there. I want to stay a little outside, but I want to be able to walk there. So we stayed a little bit further out, and then we were able to walk to the shops and to the food, and and so we got to see a different part, and I fell in love with it. I mean, I get it. I get why people go back there time and time again.
There's so many different sides to New Orleans. There's people who want to go and stay down right in the quarter where all the action is happening, but it's loud, and there's stuff that goes on all night, and there's pretty parts uptown where you're just not quite in the middle of everything. You can kind of get whatever you want when you go.
Yeah, you really can, and that's and the food. I mean, can you even I'm Pennsylvania Dutch. Okay, our food is it's a very specific. You go down there, and I'm like, oh my, I ate for 3 days. I had to space my eating. Seriously.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You don't go on a diet and then go to New Orleans. It doesn't work out well.
No. It's a good place to celebrate with good food.
Exactly. So that was really fun for me. I loved her. She is a store owner, and what is the name of the store? It's I don't want to get it wrong.
Bits and Pieces is the name of the shop.
I was thinking things, yeah. And doesn't it, I was like, I want to go to that store. I mean, that sounded like so much fun. Did you get that from something, or, did you know anywhere like that?
Well, Magazine Street has a bunch of antique shops and vintage home accessories, that type of, they have all kinds of shops, but it's a well-known street there in New Orleans with a lot of those little antique shops. So I kind of was just thinking of some of those that I've been in. And then my mom worked in a sort of high-end furniture consignment store, but they would create these great little vignettes of things. And I just being in her environment and knowing kind of how they make things look appetizing to customers. I just kind of put it all together and created a store that I would love to visit.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I can imagine it in one of those little houses, and yeah, I wish it existed.
Yeah, and I love that, the things in there were kind of like things that she restored.
Sure.
And I'm a crocheter, so I'm very artsy. Okay, and I dye my own yarn. I'm like one of those really weird, like I have to get into it. If I'm into something artsy, like I have to dive into it. Yeah. And that's what I loved about her. I was like, I so get her. She's like somebody I get, So.
Yeah, it was fun. And, I'm not a furniture refinisher. I don't do that stuff. But it was really fun to kind of learn about it. And in another life, I would love to do that kind of stuff. But I just don't have the patience. But I could indulge that side of me through her.
Right, exactly. And I'm happy that you're a writer. So just...
Well... Thanks.
I'm also really happy about the fact that you've got 2 daughters. What are their ages now?
Sela is 5, and Kate will be 8 in a couple weeks. So kindergarten and second grade.
I've talked to more and more of you guys that write with children, like right there. And I'm always just so in awe because I've raised 6 children. Okay. I've homeschooled. I've done, my oldest is 30. My youngest is 14. And I don't know that I could have done anything else. Like I didn't do anything else. I got really into baking and stuff, something productive that they enjoyed. So, but, and I've read a lot because I homeschool and I've read a lot.
Well, talk about being in awe. I mean, 6 children in your homeschooling, that's huge. And really the writing stuff doesn't happen at all while the kids are around. I wrote most of the Hideaway I wrote between the hours of 5 and 7 in the morning, and then some stretches on Saturday afternoons at the library. But when the kids are home, there's I can't say go play while I write. I mean, I have to have silence, I have to have quiet, and I don't want them to feel like I'm sitting in here doing my thing while they're around. So now my little one is in kindergarten, so that's kind of opened up my day because I have a chunk of my time now. So I don't do the early morning, but pretty much before noon is still my good time. That's when my brain is firing a little better, and that's when I get most of that writing done. But sometimes I think about it and think, this is insane. What am I doing?
I know exactly. And I mean, then, so the Hideaway took you a little bit, but now you've got a new book coming out called...
I do. Hurricane season. It comes out April.
Okay, I was thinking when I saw that, I'm like, how appropriate after what we just went through.
I know. I mean, I kind of was thinking, I'm glad my book wasn't out this year because it's just so close. And, so hopefully next year, the real hurricane season will be very calm and people can just read about it.
It's crazy because I was in Texas. 2 of my children live in Texas, and I was there during Harvey. Now, they don't live near there. They live in Dallas. But still, it was close. There was a lot of things going on. And then, and you're thinking, well, that was bad. And then, and little did we know. Like it wasn't going to stop.
There's just so much more to come.
And then my brother lived in Jupiter in Florida, so he had to deal with. It was just like for a month there, it was just felt like it was nonstop.
Right. No, and I was in the middle of doing edits on hurricane season, and it was just feeling a little it's a little weird.
We can go years without a huge hurricane season, and then all of a sudden we have a year like this, and it's like, oh my God! No matter where you lived, it didn't even matter,
Yes, you were under threat at some point if you were anywhere near the coast.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but you're in Alabama.
I'm in Alabama. Yes, I'm in Birmingham, just outside of Birmingham, which is not the coast.
Right, and that's where the other part of the story comes in with Mags.
Well, the other part of the story is down in South Alabama, on the eastern. I'm from Mobile, which is all the way down on Mobile Bay, which opens out into the Gulf. Okay. So on the eastern shore of Mobile Bay is a string of really quaint towns: Fairhope, Point Clear, Daphne, some really sweet places. Really neat little towns. And that's where Mag's Sweet Bay is based on some of those little towns.
Yeah, and I have to say, I've never been to Alabama.
It's
I was
great.
like, in my brain, because, I'm 53, and I'm like, at any point, did I drive through? Did I, but I have to say, like, it just wasn't on my way to anywhere.
Sure. I can imagine in Pennsylvania. I've never been to Pennsylvania, so
you haven't?
Maybe sometimes we can be in each other's neck of the woods.
Have you been anywhere north? Like in the Northeast?
I just went to New York a few weeks ago. that's really the only place I've done up there is New York City a few times.
Right. And
but
that's not, even though that's not far from me, it's a different world.
It is. Yeah, sure. I haven't been to the actual, like, New England, anything. I would love to one day.
Yeah.
I know it's really pretty.
I think that kind of has the same feel as what you were trying to capture too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because they have the quaint little towns, and they have those bed and breakfasts and stuff like that. So, you know, I kind of imagined it like that, you know, when I was picturing this bed.
Just near the water.
Yes. So where did you come up with Sarah? Like, Mags seemed, I mean, I had both my grandmothers alive, and I could really envision them. But it was like the main character, like, I was wondering where you came up with her, because she's awesome.
Well, thanks. You know, Mags came first in my head as I was sort of imagining the story. I had the idea of this sort of kooky grandmother in an old house, and for me, I was thinking, if you have a grandmother, then you have a grandchild. And of course, I would make it a woman because I like to write stories about women. So I just sort of I think I made Sarah the opposite of who I knew Mags was going to be. Mags was going to be this sort of free spirit, and I needed Sarah to be pretty buttoned up. And I just made this character living in this place. I love New Orleans. So I gave her this sort of ideal lifestyle there, but knowing that she was going to have to leave it for a time to do something else that she's not sure she wanted to do. But Sarah just kind of came to me. She has little aspects of me. I like things to be a certain way, kind of a little bit of a type A, but she was really fun to imagine. And her friend Alan was a good balance for her, I think. So I had fun playing with the two of them. I think Alan kind of helped create Sarah's character a little bit, because he was kind of the opposite of everything she was.
Yeah, and
he was really fun.
I mean, even though you say you don't like to write male characters, I mean, your male characters in this book were really good. Like, I love them. You know, you gave them a good voice, and not like very eccentric, each one of them. You know, so very different, very, you know, I love them. I thought you did a great job with them, and you know, and we always want to imagine somebody, you know, like.
Sure.
Well, especially when you're reading these kind of novels too, you're like, I want that kind of guy. Like, I want a guy to, you know, be like him. And I can't even think, what is his name? I don't want to get it wrong.
There's William. William is who she meets at.
Right, and then Sarah is
Crawford. Sarah's
Crawford.
The woodworker.
Yes, that's what
Or the contractor, not the woodworker. Well, he's not the woodworker, but contractor.
Yes,
exactly. That's right. There are several men in the story. There's only one in the hurricane season, but he's one of the points of view. So I wrote from a man's point of view, which was different but fun. I think I got readers in his head a little bit.
And I love this way of telling a story. I've read a couple of books recently that kind of take this, but this kind of spin is like taking two characters and writing from different points of view and then different time periods. And I love how you did that. You know,
well, thanks.
Because
it was,
I was kind of in the middle. I'm at 53. I'm too young for Mags, but then too old for Sarah. I'm kind of in the middle, but I love reading it like that. I don't know. As a reader, it's fun to kind of go back and forth, I think.
Sure.
I think it keeps
I'm glad.
You know?
I'm glad you think that, because it was kind of tricky. I love reading stories from different points of view as a reader. It's fun. It kind of helps you see different sides of the same story. Adding the different timelines was a little tricky, and it's not how the book started out. It started out just Sarah, and I had Mag's story as a journal. But then I got all the way through the first draft and realized Mag's story was bigger than that, and I didn't want to use a journal. Using a journal felt a little like a crutch to me in this story, and I felt like Mag's story had become a lot bigger than I envisioned, and I wanted her to have her own voice. So at that point, I separated them and gave them each their own story. And Mag's story obviously had to happen in the past because, you know, her story started a long time ago. But it was really fun for me. So I hope it comes across to readers as an easy way to read the story and an interesting to hear kind of how their lives parallel each other.
Yeah. And you know, what's interesting is I've been doing ancestry stuff lately.
Okay.
All of a sudden I've taken an interest in, you know, now that I don't have either of my parents. It's like, it's weird. You wait until you don't have anybody to ask. And then all of a sudden,
then you're interested.
Yeah, when I had people around, I wasn't interested. So I was asking my one aunt a question about I'd gotten to a roadblock, and she said, you have to remember that those stories are way more deep than just a timeline.
Yeah.
And especially in the Pennsylvania Dutch culture, she's like, a lot of times, who the parents and grandparents there weren't clear lines.
Yeah. There's always more to the story than you think. I mean, you can hear little bits of your family's past, but just the idea that all of those people, your great-grandparents, who you either never knew or just knew for a smidge and they were old by then, and knowing they had this whole rich life was just really kind of eye-opening and made me look at my grandparents in a different way. And, I only have one remaining now. And now, we've been like, give us all your stories. Let us get it all down. Because that was just whole lives. So I liked being able to kind of dig into that a little bit with Mags.
Right. And that's why I really connected with Sarah, because she didn't even, because she's so young, she didn't realize that her grandmother had a story.
Yeah. Sure. Yes.
And so it was like, wait a second, she wasn't that old lady that sat on a porch and just, And so I thought that was so cool, because it's like, we get to a certain point and we love to look at them and think, wait, they were 30 once. They were
exactly
once. They did things.
They were young. Yeah. And they had love, and they had regrets and mistakes and joys, and we all are
so heartwarming. It was such a heartwarming story, and I really couldn't believe that it was your debut novel. I have to tell you, I don't look into them when I read them. I try to just read. I don't look at Amazon reviews. I'm really like, I just don't do that. I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want anyone else's opinion. I'll look later, but I don't when I look at it. And then when I went back, I was like, oh, this was her first book. No way. I had no idea. No idea. So I'm so happy that you read, that you're continuing and you've got a second book and you're working on a third book right now.
I'm working on a third. Wow. Yes.
So
that's sort of
picking up speed.
Well, it's picking up, but I was nervous to get into, everybody wants an author to write a book a year. But that's a hard pace to keep up. I have these. The Hideaway came out in April. Hurricane season comes out next April. And then the next one will come out the next year. And then I might take a little bit of a breather while I'm coming up with my next great idea, hopefully. But it's fun to be able to engage with readers and be able to get these stories out to people. It's really been a joy.
Yeah. And even for a debut novel to have, like I told you, I listened to the audiobook. And you have no idea how blessed you are to have the audiobook, because a lot of publishers for a debut novel, they won't put an audiobook out there. And I always think it's such a shame for you guys, because it is becoming such a huge industry that, and you should see me with my little Audible credits, because every once in a while they'll be like 2 for 1. I'm like, yes. And I go,
get it. That's great. Yeah. And it's funny for me, I only read print books. I don't read ebooks at all. Mm-hmm. And now that I've gotten into this world of publishing, I realize how huge e-readers are too. I mean, I'm so late to the game, but I know there's a ton of people who only read on their Kindle because it's so convenient, and then moving into audiobooks as well.
Well, you know what happened to me is I was in an airport, and I was going back and forth. My mom was sick, and I'm flying from Florida to Pennsylvania every other weekend, and I had carried this huge suitcase, but I'd pack all my books because I knew I'd be staying for a week, and I travel with like 5, 6, 7 books, and so one day they weigh it, and they were like, "You gotta get this down," and I was like, "Okay," so I took all my books out, and then I had to carry them through the airport. And then I was like, I need a Kindle, because I couldn't.
For that, yes.
So with people who and that's people's lives. They travel, and you can't carry books in there. First of all, now, I mean, your travel-on bag has to be like this big.
I know.
So like you want to be able to carry a Kindle. And with Whisper Sync, I can go back and forth. I can listen and then go on the Kindle. So I mean, your publisher is like awesome. And they really have a lot of faith in you, because they put it out in every forum for people to get to. So I'm going to post those links to Amazon, and you can listen to her. You can, you can read it on Kindle and or get the beautiful hard copy.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have a say on the cover?
Yes, I did. Actually, we went through a little bit of a variation before this one, but then this was the second choice, and I just about fell out of my chair when they sent this to me because it was just absolutely perfect. Before they do the titling and the cover meeting, they ask me for a whole bunch of information, all the images and words and anything that I've been thinking of that could go on the cover. They asked me to send them all that, and then they sort of take all that and interpret it into a cover. So I mean, when I got this, the more I studied it, the more I just thought, with the two chairs on the porch, and there's like a missing slat in the shutters, it's just really perfect. And the cover, I will say, the cover for hurricane season is very lovely, and it was their first shot, and I said, yes, we'll take it. It's
I
perfect.
think I saw it. It's actually available for pre-order right now.
It is available for pre-order. Yeah, I should have grabbed one so I could show it to you, but it's out there. It's done. It's like waiting in production world somewhere.
I was actually kind of surprised because I was like, wow, they put it out that many months as a pre-order, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and I was surprised. I didn't even know it was out there until I saw somebody online that had put the cover, the Amazon link or something. I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
There.
Yeah, there it is. So I know you are just so inspiring. I just hope you know that, like, anybody who wants to go on your website, you've got lots of little tips, and I loved your website. You know, you're really trying to help other authers and giving them advice on what you've gone through in the publishing world and writing world and being a mom, and you know, like it makes you understand that you can do more than one thing, and you know, you can be successful at it, and
so much.
and I just love the fact that, like I said, like this genre of books for novels, it's like everybody should just go get one and just, you know,
it's hard. Life's hard these days. There's so much bad stuff.
Exactly. Just read a good novel.
Do a good book.
No, and what I love about it, I don't even know if this term is appropriate for you because I just came across it, but there are these genres that are called cozy, quote unquote.
Oh, okay.
Did you
I've heard
hear
of cozy mysteries. Cozy mysteries?
There are cozy mysteries, but then there are these cozy, like, I don't know. But I was talking to one author about it because I'm like, I've never really heard the term. I thought it was Canadian more than anything, but I would signify your book as a quote unquote cozy romance novel, because it's like you don't have to worry about your daughters reading it. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about any scenes that you're like, just turn the page. Like, I'm one of those people. Okay, I don't need any of that. I like romance. I like romance. You know?
Yeah, it's really important to me to be able to one day give this to my daughters and not have to say, like, don't read what's on page 50, or be able to give it to my, you know, my mother-in-law and not feel guilty about what's on the pages. And I've had emails from young people and from ladies in their 80s, no lie, saying, I loved the story, I'm giving it to my book club. And that just makes me feel good that it can be a wide range of ages can enjoy the story.
That's right, that you can tell a story without any of that you can tell a lovely story. And that's another thing I wanted to thank you for, is that I saw on your website that you do book clubs. And I think that is just amazing, because there are so many authors that won't do book clubs, and I hope you always do book clubs, because as a fan, it means so much. And I've been involved in book clubs. I'm not currently, but you know, it means so much, even if you take 10-15 minutes out of your day just to be on Skype and say hi guys, you know, and let them all, like, first of all, you get to see your fans, and second of all, they love it, you know. So you know.
I mean, I've done this Skype thing with several book clubs, and I have several more on my calendar.
I saw that.
If they're around here, I've met with several here in Birmingham and kind of close by areas, but Skype is just genius for this type of thing. So I've sat in many people's living rooms, or my face has.
Your face has. Yeah, and I think it's just so important to be, you know, like, you've worked so hard. It's so awesome for you to sit there for 10 minutes and have people be like, I love this book. Like, you know, it's both people love it so much that, you know, but there are so many authors that miss out on it, I think. And I'm really happy to hear that you do that. And I think I'd put it out there, you know, that you love doing that. So.
Yeah, and I could sit and talk about books all day long, so it's fun for me too.
Right, exactly. So anyway, thank you for talking with me. And let's put up your book one more time. I will put all your links, and especially the one to your website and the Amazon page. But you're all over, right? You're on Facebook, Twitter.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, you can find me on there.
Yeah, I've been just starting with Instagrams.
Oh, Instagram's fun. I kind of wish Facebook is like the black hole that like sucks me in, but Instagram, I feel like I can go check pictures and,
Really quick in the grocery store, you go flip through your Instagram,
not so much. For some reason, it doesn't suck me in as much as Facebook can.
Yeah, so just hold up the cover for everybody to see.
Oh.
Hold up your book. Yay, go get the Hideaway. And I can't wait for the new one. Maybe we'll chat again. I'll read.
Oh, I'd love to. That would be great. I would love to.
That comes out, and we can promote that book. So anyway, thank you so much,
All
Lauren.
right, thank you so much.
Have a great day.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.